From 2002 to 2005, Bob Sapp was one of the most feared fighters on the planet. From his hulking physique to aggressive fighting style, no one wanted to fight the monster. But then, he had a terrible fall from grace. Within a few years, the most feared man in the fight game turned into MMA's laughingstock. So let's take a deeper look into Bob Sapp's intriguing story to figure out just how bad he actually was. The Legend of Bob Sapp. Why is he so popular? Bob Sapp is a former footballer turned professional wrestler, boxer, kickboxer, and mixed martial artist. He is a jack of all trades and a master of literally none. The gentle giant started his athletic career in 1997 when he was drafted by the Chicago Bears in the NFL thanks to his incredible performances in college. But unfortunately, his career in football never really took off. A few months after signing, Sapp was released by the Bears and signed with Minnesota Vikings, playing just one game in 2 seasons, before being suspended for steroid abuse. He was then signed and released by 2 other teams before his career came to an end. To make matters worse, Sapp lost all of his earnings after he was defrauded by his economic advisor. As a result, he had to work at a funeral home to make ends meet until he got his opportunity to showcase his talents in pro wrestling. Sapp signed with WCW in 2000 after a good start with NWA Wildside, but he wasn't particularly good at wrestling either. What changed his life for the better was a boxing side gig. Sapp was handed the opportunity to fight former NFL superstar William Perry when the FX network in America decided to put together a curious card of tough man fights in which celebrities and former athletes fought each other. With some combat sports experience under his belt in 2000, Sapp duly dispatched his woeful opponent in the second round. The fight didn't garner much attention from the combat sports world, but one man in particular was extremely impressed by Bob Sapp. That man was K1 founder Kazuyoshi Ishii, who recognized Sapp's potential as a cult hero. Ishii knew that Sapp's beastly attributes, cartoonish appearance and personality, and massive potential for theatrics would have the Japanese fans hooked. Sapp didn't have a great start to his kickboxing career as he was beaten, but he broke through in his second fight against Cyril Abidi. In the lead up to the fight against Abidi, Sapp pulled off an iconic promo by intently looking into the camera and eating his opponent's picture before unleashing his ghoulish laugh. The icing on the cake was his TKO win, which he earned in less than 80 seconds to make his mark in Japan in 2002. Within the next 3 to 4 years, Sapp was the face of hundreds of products in Japan that included sex toys. He even hosted his own hidden camera show and released a rap album. Sapp did game shows, talk shows, television commercials, and movies, almost never sleeping and barely training. During his stay in Japan, Sapp made close to $10 million, which was a crazy amount of money a couple decades ago. So why was Bob Sapp so successful in the early part of his career? Standing at 6 feet 5 inches tall and weighing in at 350 pounds, Bob Sapp possessed superhuman strength. He wasn't an elite kickboxer or mixed martial artist, but his size, strength, and theatrics were intimidating enough to put his opponents off their game. Not many had the answer to his aggressive and reckless fighting style early on in his career. In his first 14 fights in MMA and kickboxing respectively, he compiled an impressive record of 10 wins and 4 losses in both formats, with a 100% finish rate in mixed martial arts up until 2018. His notable wins in MMA came against Yoshihiro Takayama and Akihito Kinaku Montaro Tanaka. In kickboxing, his twin victories against Ernesto Hoost, who is widely regarded as one of the greatest kickboxers of all time, still remain the highlight of his career. Sapp's critics won't credit him for his wins over Hoost, however. They think Hoost was way past his prime when he fought Sapp. However, Hoost, who was on a 13-fight unbeaten run when he faced the Beast, so we will give him that. Other than his win over Hoost, Sapp holds a very padded record with questionable wins against far smaller opponents, yet he remains one of the most popular fighters in MMA history thanks to his exceptional marketing skills. Now, if you are loving the video so far, show us some love by smashing that like button so we know to make more videos like this for you. So what resulted in Bob Sapp's downfall? One of the major reasons why Sapp had an unfortunate downfall and now has losing records in both mixed martial arts and kickboxing was that he continued to fight past his sell date. The second and most important reason for his downfall was that with growing popularity, his potential opponents started paying closer attention to him, and once he was figured out, there was no way back for him. Sapp was undoubtedly one of the hardest hitting fighters in his heyday, but he wasn't the most durable. Sapp's chin was very ordinary, and he simply couldn't take a hit. Cardio was also an issue for a guy as monstrous as Sapp. His aggressive fighting style meant that he couldn't fight for longer durations. He started his fights at a wild pace, so he only had a good 2 to 3 minutes at best to finish his opponents. Grappling was Sapp's Achilles heel. Whenever he faced a world-class or even a decent grappler, he got his butt whooped and bailed out. Against Bobby Lashley, Royce Gracie, and a couple other guys, he tapped to punches as soon as he got a few good ones to his face. Against Lashley, he tapped at least 3 times before the ref put him out of his misery. Sapp rarely ever attempted to escape to a better position. He just wanted an easy way out. Even in his more successful days, Sapp was losing to fighters who were significantly better than him. For instance, when he fought Mirko Cro Cop in a kickboxing fight back in 2003, he was stopped in under 90 seconds after Cro Cop landed a brutal liver kick followed by a decent left hook. The size difference was huge, and Cro Cop looked like a lightweight at best in front of a specimen like Sapp, but skill-wise, it was the other way around. From 2005 to 2016, Sapp was so woeful that he lost 14 consecutive MMA fights, before finally breaking the deadlock against a sumo wrestler who was making his MMA debut in 2018. Now, during that same time frame, he fought 16 times in kickboxing, losing 14 times and winning 2 fights, with one victory coming once again against a sumo wrestler with a terrible kickboxing record. Throwing fights and not taking fighting seriously. Despite the fact that Sapp wasn't technically very gifted, many people still refuse to believe that a giant like him would regularly lose to far smaller adversaries without any foul play involved. The American's career has been marred with allegations of throwing fights, especially in Japan, for the sake of money. Now, whether Sapp's alleged fights were scripted like those in pro wrestling, or he himself bailed out in tough situations instead of fighting back, there are more than a half dozen examples to prove that he wasn't serious about fighting. The pattern was pretty much the same in most, if not all, of his losses. Sapp would walk down the ramp doing his Ric Flair shtick with the music and feathery robe and some fiery antics inside the cage, only to quit a few seconds later. When he was asked by Ariel Helwani to respond to the allegations of throwing fights, he didn't give a very convincing response. Sapp denied throwing fights by saying that he chose to give up when the going got tough, simply because he didn't want to put his body through hell. For him, the money he earned through fighting wasn't worth the CTE. Now, some say that Sapp's fight against Kazuyuki Fujita played a major role in how he approached fights after 2004. The last time Sapp showed toughness and resilience was against Fujita, who decimated him with his wrestling and soccer kicks. Sapp probably swore he'd never endure punishment like that again in exchange for relative peanut compensation. Fujita was a big man himself, and his soccer kicks were so brutal that Sapp now has dimples on his head because of them. Throughout his career across combat sports, Sapp has been more of an entertainer than a legitimate athlete. He may not be the best mixed martial artist in the world, but he is a cult hero who put entertainment ahead of personal glory. Unfortunately, that does not change the fact that he was a woeful fighter, especially post-2005. An MMA record of 12 wins and 20 losses is definitely not something to be proud of, but Sapp couldn't care less about it. That's pretty much the definition of bad. Now, with that being said, we'll let you guys be the judge of how bad Bob Sapp actually was. Give us your thoughts in the comments section below. Now, if you liked our video, then please show us some love by subscribing and turning on the notifications so you get notified the next time we upload one. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.